Peter Crouch, Matthew Etherington and Jonathan Woodgate, while Ida Gudjonsson, Wilson Palacios and Stephen Kelly also spent time at both clubs. Despite Crystal Palace having the second highest goal tally of the teams in the bottom half of the table, their inability to score first-half goals is having a damaging effect. The London side have failed to score in the opening 45 minutes in 19 of the 25 games they've played so far this season. It's an unwanted record they share with Sunderland. The harsh reality for manager Sam Allardyce is the fact that his side has one win in 8 Premier League games since his appointment, picking up just 4 points from a possible 24. Results have seen them drop into the relegation zone, while they've lost 8 of their last 9 league games at Selhurst Park. Their opponents, Middlesbrough, have struggled in front of goal, but in stark contrast, they've fared much better in defence. Aitor Karanka's resolute side have conceded 27 Premier League goals so far this season, with only Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur and table-toppers Chelsea shipping fewer. Despite their defensive determination, Borough are winless in their last 8 league games, their longest run in the top flight without victory since February 2009. And with the team just above the relegation zone, away wins will be vital to their chances of avoiding an immediate return to the Championship.
So with the League Cup final occupying Southampton and Manchester United just 8 games this weekend, on Saturday a key battle towards the bottom between Palace and Middlesbrough, while Sunderland boss David Moyes faces former side Everton. Spurs host Stoke on Sunday, Leicester play Liverpool on Monday. We finish with the figures of some of those unsung heroes, the defenders. For ball-winning ability, Tottenham's Toby Alderweireld has a flawless record, the best of all the defenders who've made at least 20 tackles. Bournemouth's Steve Cook has made the most clearances, 238. While Curtis Davis of Hull is the best at being in the right place at the right time with 82 interceptions. And they're even grabbing some of the glory. Excluding penalties, defenders have racked up 85 goals. West Brom's Gareth McCauley the most prolific with 5. Until next time, from Dave Farrer, me, Dave Beckett and all the Match Pack team, goodbye.
This program is brought to you by Wonder Coffee. Try the new Wonder Extra Presso. Brickfield's Asia College, the fastest and smartest way. And MyEG, your e-government service provider.
Everyone likes to start their day with freshness. Fresh food, fresh air, fresh breath. And sports is no different. Here, we now serve sports news fresh up from around the world. Supersport Daily, fresh. Every weekday on Astro Supersport in HD.
This program is brought to you by Wonder Coffee. Tastes like just brewed.
98 days after Leicester City were crowned champions, they can find themselves rock bottom of the Premier League by the time they face Liverpool on Monday. And the man that pulled off the unfathomable has been the victim of what some say is an unthinkable decision. Ranieri is gone, all the top reaction to that, plus the build-up to some big games, including United trying to win the first trophy of the season. Your Wonder Football Countdown starts now. Welcome, friends. We are live at 9 on channel 816 and 834 on your Astro Super Sport. And from this week onwards, live on YouTube as well. So if you've got any friends out there that aren't blessed with Astro Supersport at home, or if you're on the move at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, you can follow us, the show, live at 9 on YouTube every Friday night. This is the Locker Room of Legends, all aboard the Friday Night Fun Bus, because your weekend of football starts right here. And joining me on the round table is Mr. Stanley Bernard, the housewife's favourite, looking very swish in your new trendy Stadium Astro polo shirt there, Stanley.
Oh, it's lovely.
Busy week for you as well.
It's the best I've seen you look.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sponsored.
Because it's not yours.
It's sponsored.
And busy week for you, Stan, involved in the Asian Champions League and the AFC Cup. Johor getting that campaign off to a winning start in the group stage.
Yeah, good start, 3 points. Still lots to work on, but it's an important start.
Yeah, not going so well in the Malaysian League. I know we're going to talk about that later. The living Liverpool legend, Steve McMahon, who's looking incredibly bright because you, along with our other guests, have been on Champions League duty this week.
That's certainly bright, with a rug. You're wearing a rug.
Sorry?
Are you wearing a rug?
Oh, sorry?
Rug?
Can we get back to business, please? Yeah. You've coped with the Champions League late night as well?
Fantastic. It was a wonderful two nights football.
Game of the season so far, City-Monaco?
City-Monaco was sensational. Yeah.
And I wonder if your co-pundit on the 2 nights of Champions League football agrees with you, because it's a welcome return to Countdown to the Sizzler, Gary Stevens. How are you, Gal?
I'm extremely well, and I'm corporately branded
That's
up.
nice. Yes.
Yeah.
You wear it much better.
It would appear there's maybe a bit of a rift in the camp.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, you're wearing it much better. Your collar's very nice and.
Well, I've ironed it.
Your collar's already sort of coming up.
There's a difference.
Anyway, let's get straight down to business, because there is only one story in football. I happened to be up late last night. I was awake when the news broke, and in the UK, I switched on a UK radio station and was monitoring Twitter. I can't remember a football decision that has sent the Twitter. Is it the Twitter sphere? You know about Twitter. Twitter sphere and all the media channels into mass hysteria. You as well have been busy, and quite right too. We want to hear from you. Our Twitter handle @StadiumAstro, #AstroFootballCountdown. You've been tweeting in your hundreds as well. Satish Tang Agadorai says, is it right to blame only Claudio Ranieri for the club's bad performance, or do the players have to take the blame as well? That's one. Fuad Hassan said, is there any loyalty left in football anymore? I think, really, guys, we know the answer to both those questions, but the pervading feeling from the UK is it was a disgraceful decision. But do the people here in Malaysia sat around this table and you at home agree? Let us know @StadiumAstro, #AstroFootballCountdown. And Stanley Bernard, I'll ask you first. Is it a decision you agree with?
Nope, not at all. I thought he should have been allowed to see out the season. I just think they're getting ahead of themselves. I know what the results is at the moment. I know, I mean, the demeanour of the players, if you look for the past 6-7 games, the camp has lost their confidence. The belief that they had last season's gone out the window. But still, the man has done something that, 5,000 to 1 last season. I think he should have that respect to finish the season. That's as simple as
Well, before we get the reaction to Stan's comments from Gary and Steve McMahon, just coming down the wires now are the press conferences ahead of this weekend's big games, and we can hear from 2 Premier League managers who are still in a job, one of them only just, you've got to think, about what they think of the decision. We'll hear from David Moyes in a moment, but first, his Bournemouth gaffer, Eddie Howe.
And disappointed, I think, knowing Claudio as I do, you know, his public persona is very much his private persona. I've got a lot of time for him, really great guy, real gentleman, very positive person, and to see him lose his job in the manner that he has, I think, is very sad, considering everything he did last season, the historic achievements that he and his team were able to do. To find himself in this position now is very sad.
Really disappointed for Claudio, because I think for managers, I think now it's put in perspective that you can win the Premier League and you go 3/4 of next season not doing so well and you can lose your job. So if you ask me, I would say really sad for Claudio. I think it's a disappointing day for managers all around the world, wherever you go, if this is what can happen.
Well, it's a standard fare, isn't it? Managers reacting to other managers getting the sack. None of them ever turn around and say, oh, yeah, it was the correct decision, because they worry. I'm sure David Moyes in particular worry that they could be next. And Eddie Howe, Bournemouth in the middle of a terrible run as well. So, Stan, you're in the David Moyes and Eddie Howe camp. You think it's a bit harsh. I've got to say, I can't quite understand the hysteria. It's just sad, but it's modern football. Gary, what about you? I mean, well,
if you take the emotion out of it totally,
yeah,
OK, look at only this season, because football is very much about the here and now. If you look at Leicester City's results, if you look at the way they've tumbled down the league, if you look at the fact that there would appear to be unrest, some disenchantment with Claudio Ranieri from the players' point of view, and they are looking very much like relegation fodder, I would have to say that the owners of Leicester City had to make this decision because they need to change something. They can't change players anymore, so they have to change the manager. If you put the emotional side back into it, how well Ranieri did last season, the fact that Leicester won the Premier League, etc., then it's a harsh decision. You know, I'm a genuine guy. I've been sacked as a manager, as a coach. It's not pleasant. It's part of the business, though. And ultimately, I do think that Leicester City at board level have made the right decision, as tough as that is on Ranieri.
So stands for Ranieri having stayed put. Gary said he's right to have gone. Mako, looks like you've got the casting vote here.
I'm a little bit of both. I'm in both camps a little
6
bit.
to 1, half a dozen of the other.
50-50.
Yeah.
Heads or tails?
I can understand the decision.
Yeah.
I really can. I'm not shocked. A little bit surprised at the timing of it, but you've heard me say on the show many times they should bring in where the managers should not be sacked during the season.
Yeah,
this is just highlights it, and then we wouldn't have this Ferrari at the moment. He's a decent guy. You can see that, plain and simple. But I think he's lost the discipline in the camp.
Now, that's key, isn't it? I mean,
it is key.
Elaborate on that, because Gary and yourself have both coached. When you lose the dressing room, it must be very difficult to get it back. I mean, once you lose the dressing room, that's almost like the death knell, isn't it?
Yes, and because the players then rule.
Yeah.
So, he was top man. When you win the league, you're in the height of your power. So you can dictate and decide what you want to do because you can. He didn't do the things that I think he probably regrets doing in the summer by putting his foot down a little bit and doing the things he maybe wanted to do. And he let the players run the roost and run that football club. You could see it clearly. Gary and I were on, just a point, Gary and I were on doing the Premier League. Sorry, the Champions League
midweek, the Sevilla game.
And Leicester were losing 1-0, and it was a good hiding, not 1-0.
Yeah. They missed
the
a penalty, Sevilla.
Yeah, it should have been 3 and 4. Yeah. And these two guys here should be sacked. If they could be, they won't be sacked. Never mind Ranieri. These two guys, Vardy and Moyes, should be sacked if it was down to basic performances.
Because they're laughing and joking coming out the tunnel.
Absolutely, and for the performance levels this season.
Well, Mahrez, the decline in Mahrez's form, it's frightening how similar it is to the man who was player of the year before him, Eden Hazard at Chelsea, who arguably helped get Mourinho the sack. Do you think Mahrez is responsible for the same with
100%?
The key here now, the balance of 13 games, isn't it? So a new manager, whoever the manager, we're going to discuss about it in a while, who's possibly going to take over.
Yeah.
Just say these players that you saw last season, highest assists, the top goal scorer, Jamie Vardy, they turn around their performances in the next 13 games and keep Leicester up. Yeah. Don't you think that this is the biggest betrayal you've ever seen in football?
Well, it's interesting.
We've talked about the co-stars, we talked about the Hazards. Good that you brought up Chelsea.
Is this a bigger betrayal than the Chelsea betrayal
I
of the
think
players?
So. Bigger.
Yeah.
It's bigger.
I mean, so then who's to blame?
The players.
But you can't sack players.
Well, the manager should see that coming. Yeah. He should see that coming. And
what is he going to do? But Steve, you've been in the changing room as the manager. It's one of the toughest jobs in the world, to the extent that you can only start a game with 11 players.
Well,
okay, and when you're winning, nobody can say anything. But actually, when you're picking 11 and you're getting beaten, then you're picking another 11 and you're getting beaten. Everybody who's not involved are the ones that are moaning.
But the interesting thing about that is people are saying he's stuck with the same players, he's been too loyal. But if what's coming out of the dressing room, and Jamie Vardy, one of the journalists that's leaked a lot of this unrest, happens to be the same man that's ghostwritten Jamie Vardy's autobiographies. You've got to think there's something in it. There's talk that Vardy was unhappy. They went from that 4-2-3-1, where he was the lone man up top. They went 4-4-2. They paid their record transfer fee for Slimani. He's come in. So it's only a tweak, but maybe things like that.
He's tinkered with formation.
But something, the other things they're talking about are ludicrous. They're saying the players aren't happy they've gone from chicken burgers to pasta post-meal.
It's rubbish. But, last season, Ranieri didn't have to do anything because they're winning.
Yeah.
Steve knows the same as me. When your team's winning, you don't have to do too much. You keep it going. Well, it's what you find out, or you find the truth out about a coach or a manager when the side is struggling. Can he sort it out? Can
We've
he
had
turn
this
it
around.
around?
Go on, Stanley, go on.
How tough it is, I'm going to ask both of you, how tough it is, the fact that we've touched upon this, Patrick has touched upon this, only Ferguson was known to even tinker around with a winning squad, and that's why he had that successful overrun for 26 years. How hard it is for a man like Ranieri, okay? He knows Wes Morgan, Robert Hood, is way above their age where they have hit their peak. They played out of their skin last season. They'll never, ever emulate a season like that. Agreed? The fact that you want to walk into the season thinking that you want to change things. After that same side that did the miracle last season. How hard it is as a manager to tinker it at the start of the season. The fact that many come on and say, "Oh, he believed in that team."
Are you saying that he should have looked for centre halves?
Yeah, he should have.
Well, so it's his fault. So now you're saying you're contradicting yourself.
I'm asking you how hard it is at the start of the season to just keep changing.
It's not
because
hard.
right now, Maka, you're contradicting as well. Because now you said he tinkered around with the formation. Isn't that a change where he's trying to do something different from last season?
That's because results hasn't gone his way. So he's not believing in his players. So he's changing systems because of that.
And you have to get it right. If you make a change, you have to get it right.
So when he does it, it's wrong. When he doesn't, it's wrong. So what's right? Because when he does a change
listen, but I think it's fine margins, because if those tie owners thought they were guaranteed worst-case scenario 17th, I think he'd still be there. I think, well, we're going to have a disastrous season, but we'll avoid relegation. And the other thing I want to ask you, because, again, you've had to deal with the media, Stanley, as a player, and I'm sure we mentioned this last year on Countdown. Do you think this sort of bumbling, everyone's favourite bumbling uncle routine washed last season when they were inching their way towards the title, but the sort of nature of his post-match demeanour, if you like, has counted against him? Now they're really in a dogfight to stay up.
I just think he's a nice guy, and it's come to catch him, and you've got people and players exploiting that he's a good guy and using that. And I said on a number of occasions, it's the tail wagging the dog. And Ranieri should have invested in centre-half, should have invested in his squad a bit more, because Kante left, obviously.
Yeah. He spent enough. He spent the best part of 100 million.
But maybe not in the right positions, because the two centre-halves were probably the big deals, especially in the Premier League when you need legs. Yeah. And centre-half is definitely where
and of course, the other thing, I mean, you've already alluded to it there with the demeanour of Vardy and Mahrez coming out for the second half. The timing is strange, bearing in mind they came away from Spain with a result, and while they looked like still outsiders to go through, compared to some of the other Champions League ties that are halfway done, they're very competitive.
See, I'll mention Ancelotti here. He won a double with Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then midway through the second season, sacked.
Yeah.
Then what's the rhyme or reason? Was everybody up in arms about that? He'd won a double, for heaven's sake, at Chelsea, and then been sacked.
But that brings us nicely on back. The fact that whether... and of course, Di Matteo went on to win the Champions League.
And the FA Cup.
But that brings us on to something else, which is that Ranieri's not alone in a manager who's won a title with the club, albeit Leicester's was the ultimate fairy tale, and then very quickly found himself under the cosh, because, again, people have been asking via Twitter and tweet, is winning the Premier League a poison chalice? The record of managers that have won the Premier League over the last 5 seasons, and compared to where they have ended up, is not very good. You've had, obviously, Mancini sacked, so Alex Ferguson retired, Pellegrini sacked, Jose sacked the season after. No one's lasted, I think, over 12 and a bit months immediately after winning the league.
You're talking about massive clubs, and the expectations are high, obviously, for them big clubs, and the expectations are not that high at Leicester. That's why...
But they're still... Once you've won the league, Becca, they're high enough to say you cannot... It's not happened since 1936. Manchester City in 1936, and a freak season, by the way, because they scored more goals in that campaign than any other team and still went down.
I mean, it's incredible.
As champions.
The expectations for Leicester this year was probably to stay mid-table there or thereabouts.
So what you're saying, Mecca, sorry to cut you off. Yeah. If last season, I was just saying this, Gary, off camera, if last season Leicester finished, say on the last day they survived and they finished 17th, exactly where they are, do you think Ranieri at this point with the same situation, will he be gone or will he be safe?
He'd be gone before. They'd gone before the transfer window.
It'd been before Christmas.
Yeah. By the way, that stat...
Well before Christmas.
I just got to elaborate. That stat on Manchester City, the season they went down, they were the top scorers in the division and still went down. Work that out.
Bit of a freak,
Work that out.
But, you know, so you have to look back at last season when Leicester City won. Yeah. You know, did they earn their luck or did they get lucky?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know, because if they earned their luck, then they're underperforming this year.
I think the other teams underperformed in and around them. That should have done better. That didn't.
Yeah.
And they went on a purple patch, and just the confidence grew, and they got maximum out of every player. And this year's the opposite. Other teams are performing, and most of the Leicester players are underperforming.
I believe that it was agreed at Leicester City at the start of this season that the first target was to make sure we stayed in the Premier League.
Yes, 40 points.
And as it stands at this precise moment in time, you know, it's precarious. I couldn't guarantee that they would stay in the Premier League if Ranieri stayed in place.
Exactly. Now, I was going to say that. Now, if you say, and categorically say, if Ranieri's still there, at the end of the season he went down, you say they've made a mistake. They should have sacked him. Yeah. They should have let him go. Why?
Many would not.
Why?
Say. Because the respect that he should earn to finish the season is as simple as that.
No,
it doesn't guarantee. It's a gamble, isn't it? Okay,
Of course it's a gamble.
We're going to speak.
Of course it's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
Keep
So
it
that's
gamble.
Of course it's a gamble.
But we're going to talk about who they're going to bring in a minute. But keep who you think it will be to yourself. Do you think they've got a better chance of staying up with whoever comes in, or do they have a better chance of keeping Ranieri?
That's
what it comes down to.
No.
So, well, interesting to see who you think is going to get the job then, which we'll come on to now. Round the table, very quickly. I don't think anyone has changed their mind. Wrong decision, right decision, right decision. Is that summing up?
I'm saying that the board had to make that decision, yes.
OK, so let's get down to the serious business. And you've got to think, I can't help but think they had someone in mind. The timing of it's strange. Now, the bookmakers in the UK, and we'll be speaking about bookmakers earlier in relating to gambling and football, but the bookmakers in the UK, bizarrely, have Roberto Mancini as the favourite. I think they may be under the impression that Leicester want to make a statement signing. Who do you think should get the job, Stanley Bernard?
Well, at the moment, Mancini, because this is a defending champions. If they're going for Mancini, get him. He's a big-name manager. He's won the Premier League.
When was the last time Mancini was involved in a relegation dogfight as a manager?
Exactly. No experience. So I don't have a better manager than him. That's the point.
The players apparently want the man who got them out of relegation the season before last after that incredible run, which was Nigel Pearson. And how ironic would that be? People say football's soul is gone, and if they brought the man back who was ultimately sacked because of something that happened on a post-season tour in Thailand, how ironic would that be?
Well, there's an argument that if the players want Nigel Pearson back, that's who they should bring in, because it would appear to me that clearly the players weren't happy with Ranieri.
Who's your name then? Who do you think should
based
get
on
the
that
job?
little argument, I think it's Nigel Pearson, but I don't think they can go that route.
Before I get Macca's, just to let you know the other names that are in the mix: Alan Pardew, God help us, Gary Rowett, Mark Warburton, who's just been binned by Rangers. I mean, some of the names are... Roy Hodgson's another one. Who's your pick, Macca?
Big Sam.
Big Sam?
Is he in the job?
I'm on his, no, I think...
You always say that.
Yeah, I always say that every job that comes up. Impossible. It's impossible to answer. Mancini looks the favourite, odds on, by the way things are going. Ex-player. So it all leads to Mancini, and you're right. Has he been in a dogfight? No. Has he got discipline? Yes.
But in all honesty...
So clearly, discipline was a problem there.
Yeah, clearly
Leicester City...
Newcastle appointed Benitez, and they got relegated, despite him being a big manager, because of the experience he doesn't have. But on paper, you still go for a big name at this point, rightly because the players have won the season last season. They won the season. So I'm just thinking... If you go for Nigel Pearson...
I'll make a statement now. Newcastle are a better side than Leicester. And they've got more chance and had more chance of bouncing straight back up again with Rafa Benitez. If Leicester go down, they will struggle to come back up again.
Bit of breaking news to you, because Roberto Mancini's actually tweeted in the last hour about what's happened to Ranieri. He says, "I'm sorry for my friend Ranieri. He will remain in the history of Leicester City Football Club and in the heart of Leicester fans and football lovers." Interesting that Roberto Mancini's gone to the trouble of making a tweet there. I wonder if you can read anything into that. We shall see. Keep your thoughts coming. As I always say, if we don't read them out live in the show, everyone has a look at them throughout the course of the next 45 minutes and beyond, when the production team let us know what's been going on during the show over the weekend. At Stadium Astro, hashtag Astro Football Countdown. We'll come back with a look at what happened in the Champions League. We've got Manchester United's bid for a League Cup win on the agenda. And straight after this break, stay with us for an incredible Wonder Football Whiz Kids. The kids from ISKL have gone to the top of the charts. You don't want to miss this, but we'll send you to the break, remembering fondly some of Claudio Ranieri's happier moments from that incredible title season last year.
Hey, you are sleeping. Come on. When we make clean sheet, I pay to everybody a pizza. Hey, man, we are in Champions League. We are in Champions League. We are in Champions League. Dilly din, dilly dong. And I tell to my players, lesbian song, you are the warriors. You are to do the best for them. So concentrate, so hungry. Why we can't run? Leicester is for a gun. Leicester is for a gun.
The secret of a perfect kopitare is the height of the pull.
Want the perfect blend? Wonder Kopitare, made from premium coffee beans that serves up your favorite local taste.
Wow.
Wonder Coffee.
It's Dubai, the blazing desert paradise under the UAE sun. Nothing can stop the heat with the arrival of the hottest tennis women, whose game are on fire. in the WTA Tour's most beautiful tournament. The WTA Dubai Duty Free Tennis Championship 2017. Live on Astro Supersport 4 and HD.
Right, we're back with some more Wonder Football Whiz Kids. We are at the ISKL, International School of Kuala Lumpur in Ampang. Go Panthers, guys, go Panthers. Yeah. Like his bow tie, Adam's bow tie, very nice indeed at the back there. But Adam's only watching. Our contestants are Sophia. You're Malaysian, Sophia, yes? And Gabby, you're French? Yes. Ah, très bien. Comment allez-vous? Yeah. It's all the French I know, so let's get on with the quiz. You've seen it before, 60 seconds, 6 questions. You've got as many goes as you like. You can go higher, lower. The important thing is you look very scared. You're not scared, are you?
I'm just a bit nervous, but it's okay.
Give me a fist bump, you'll be fine. Come on, Sophia, come on, Gabby. Right, 60 seconds on the clock. Are we ready, Amelina? Your 60 seconds on your teams, Arsenal and Liverpool, start now. What was the score when Arsenal played Bayern Munich last week? 5-1. Good call. What is Philippe Coutinho's squad number at Liverpool?
10.
Correct. Question 3. How many league games have Liverpool won in 2017? Since the start of the year, how many league games have they won? Have a guess? Clearly not many. 1. Good call. Question 4. What colour is Liverpool's away kit this season? Good. Goodness gracious me. What is Theo Walcott's squad number at Arsenal? 14. And finally, this is the hard one. How many league goals combined have Arsenal and Liverpool scored in the league this season?
108.
Stop the clock! Goodness gracious me. I think we've been lulled into a full sense of security. There's a girl on the team. They're going to struggle. Brilliant stuff. Another fist bump. Great work from Sophia. Great work from Gabby. And let's hear it. Go Panthers for ISKL! There's a look at the Wonder Whiz Kids standings then. Congratulations. Mac is shaking his head there about the 2 contestants. We'll come to that in a second, but they were superb. The International School of KL at the top of the charts now, 33 seconds, knocking the British International School of KL off the top, and that 33 seconds is going to take some beating. And don't forget, if you think your school have got what it takes, let us know. Send us a Twitter or a tweet at Stadium Astro as the handle, or contact us even better on our Facebook page, which is appropriately called Football Countdown. You're not happy with those contestants? I thought they did brilliantly, and a Malaysian girl as well, which is great to see.
I think they've both got grandkids.
What? They're not that
old. How old are they?
They were 15, 16. A lot of the kids have been 15, 16.
The kids have been younger than that. Stanley, would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
And sometimes, to be fair, the questions were hard last week. Yeah. Really, really hard. They went hard. The last one was hard.
Well, I didn't know Liverpool's away kit was black. You take some thinking about that, what their away kit's now. Did you know it was black?
Well, you were asking the question.
Hold on. Did you look me in the eye and tell me, did you know that Liverpool's away kit was black?
No.
You've answered yourself. Right, I'll tell you what, how lucky were Gary Stevens and Steve McMahon this week? Because while Stanley and myself were slaving away over some really average games in the Asian Champions League, Gary and Macca were enjoying some fabulous football in the European version. And very quickly, the first question I have to ask you is, Man City Monaco had everything. 8 goals. First time 8 goals have ever been scored in the first leg of a European tie. Missed penalties. Penalties not given. Yellow cards for diving. Team coming from behind in the second half. Astonishing. Best game of the season so far?
Yes, Man City Monaco.
Macca?
Yeah.
Incredible game.
Yeah. Incredible. Entertainment value, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, couldn't beat it, could you? But how impressed were you by Manchester City, Macca? Because though they show great resilience, you could pick holes in that defence, couldn't you? John Stones, dearie me.
Yeah, you could, but you can't when you win 5-3. You can if they get them beat 5-3. Yeah. And it looked as though at one stage it could have been 5-3 against them. But we're going to go into it about
this is the dive. Was that a penalty?
Oh, it's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely a penalty.
No, hands down.
And what about this kid, Mbappe? Only 18 in December. Yeah. That was a terrible penalty from Falcao, but he atoned for that penalty miss, which you'll see in a minute, after a shocking goal-giving error. And that's the other thing. The 2 keepers, Caballero and Subasic.
Sensational.
Yeah. That was one of the finishes of the season. The 2 keepers, Caballero and Subasic, only faced 12 shots on target, conceded 8 goals. And, of course, John Stones managed to get on the score sheet, but I don't think that masks what a poor performance it was.
I'd like to see John Stones defend better. Forget about scoring goals.
What was astonishing, when Falcao scored that sensational goal, it looked like he had... I mean, remember Falcao, the injuries he's had, the trials and tribulations he had, looked like he had the legs on John Stones there. Yeah. John Stones is like a young, fit man.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I thought John Stones should have got there first. If you get there first, well, you can clear it, can't you? Then he doesn't get there first. Rather than just shepherd him wide, he lets him come inside him. You know, so the fundamentals of defending from him.
You're facing a guy of a height of Caballero and you still think it over in that short space. That's just a guy with confidence after missing a penalty. So a guy, I think what Falcao is at home. He's at home. That's simple as that. You can say whether he has legs or whatever, he feels at home.
Let's not. I mean, we always criticise the French league here, but let's not decry what Monaco have done this season. They've been scoring goals so far, the top scorers across all the major divisions. But let's put it into perspective. You expect City to get through from the second leg, I assume, despite conceding 3 away goals, which is no mean feat. But how far can they go? Can they afford to put themselves in the situation to come from behind twice against, and obviously Barcelona look like they're going out, against a PSG, against a Real Madrid, against a Juventus, who for me I think are now got to be labelled favourites for the whole thing.
Juventus, you've hit the nail. Against any other side, they could probably turn over. Juventus, probably not.
Yeah. I think what suits Man City is when they play a side that is open. Yeah. So, you know, Monaco's come to score goals, which means that there's space going the other way. So if it's a direct shootout in an open game, I think I would tend to back Man City. If Man City have to play up against Juventus, then...
You back Juventus.
Exactly.
And if they were to play Bayern Munich?
I'd probably back City slight favourites.
Bayern Munich, I've been watching a lot of them in the Bundesliga this season. They are not bomb-proof by any stretch.
I agree. But in the Champions League, they're a different side. Bayern are a different side. I think we were saying about Arsenal. We're coming to that game anyway.
So Leicester.
But this is Arsenal, who's been in the Champions League year after year for the past 17 years. And Bayern Munich doing that same scoreline they did in the previous year. That's outstanding. That's a consistency in the Champions League. And they did it over a class of defence, midfield and attack. So for me, they look as solid as Juventus for me in the Champions League. But I think Bayern are favourites at the moment.
We've talked about Barcelona in years gone by. I mean, they, of course, have got a mountain to climb, having lost 4-0 in Paris. But you talk about Barcelona, well, you know, the defence isn't rock solid, but they've got the philosophy. You always say this, Macca, you score 2, we'll score 3. Manchester City, can they win the Champions League by that philosophy, which with Otamendi and Stones at the centre of defence is what they're going to have to try and do?
They actually can, you know. They can. Because the draw might be kind to them after they get... obviously, they've got to get through. Yeah. Because there's no guarantee of City getting through if they keep defending the way they do. But I think they will, anyway. But if there's any team that's going to come back in this next round... It could be Barcelona.
From 4-0 down?
Yes, if there's any team going to come back, so it could be Barcelona.
If they concede 1, they've got to score 6.
Positive. Yeah, that's if they concede, OK? It's worse. Arsenal worse.
Score a couple of early goals, and then the whole mentality changes, doesn't it?
They scored 2 goals in the first half. It's game on.
Well, I tell you what, now you've brought that game up, you both obviously covered it. A lot of people wouldn't have been able to stay up. Was the 4-0 scoreline not reflective of the game as a whole?
It was.
It was?
Yes, it was.
Solid performance.
It was an outstanding performance from PSG. Yeah. It really was incredible.
Yeah, but Di Maria with 2 goals, wasn't it? Draxler, Cavani. Yeah. It was a very, very good performance.
Well worth it. It was a very strange opening gambit for the round of 16. 6 group winners losing in the first leg. That's double the number that have lost in the whole of the last 2 years. Let's go back to City, though, who are, of course, themselves group winners. How far can they go for you in the Champions League?
Semi-finals.
Semi-finals?
They could go semi-finals. In fact, City didn't win the group, did they?
Of course they didn't. Sorry, 6 group winners lost. Of course, that's why Monaco won the group and lost.
Can City... I think at some stage they're going to bump into Juventus.
Yeah, Juventus, everyone's favourites.
If that is in the final, then they can't. But you know, I can't see Man City beating Juventus because.
Well, someone mentioned Real Madrid. Real Madrid are
good shout.
3-1. They've got to be in the mix.
Oh, Real Madrid?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but then they go and get beat by Valencia of all teams in La Liga.
Yeah, of course, but they're still top.
But Bayern the one that's strong for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you said Juventus are favourites, not for me.
Well, listen, a couple of weeks to wait, and I'm sure you guys will be on duty again. There's some of the games you may think are dead and buried, including Bayern Munich, Arsenal, but some of those second legs are going to be must-watch television. Check your local listings to find out when you can watch them. Right, stay with us. When we come back from the break in a couple of minutes, we turn our attention to the first cup final of the season. Can Jose Mourinho lift his first trophy as Manchester United manager? We'll talk about that next on your Wonder Football Countdown, right here on Astro Supersport, and we'll send you into the break with some absolute belters from the Champions League, including this from Di Maria for PSG in that 4-0 win against Barcelona.
Di Maria can hit them, as we know, with his left foot, just like that. Robin's efforts, brilliant, absolutely perfect from Arjen Robben. Now there's good work by Sowell, got away from Campbell, wants it on that left foot, great goal. Just tremendous from Sowell.
Helped away by Albiol. Oh, sensational! Fantastic from Casemiro.
Benza, an inviting ball up for Falcao to chase. Stones has lost out. Falcao, brilliant chip! Oh, what a goal!
The secret of a perfect kopitare is the height of the pull.
Want the perfect blend? Wonder Kopitare, made from premium coffee beans that serves up your favorite local taste.
Wow. Wonder Coffee.
Revenge is a dish best served with goals. Barcelona is desperate to keep their title hopes alive. But Atletico Madrid are determined for vengeance. An epic showdown not to be missed. Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona, live on beIN Sports.
Why are you keeping me at a distance? All that I'm asking for is forgiveness. Are you even listening? Am I talking to myself again? I keep on staring up at the ceiling, waiting for you.
Hey James, how you doing, buddy? Hey James, hope you enjoyed the game. Hey James, hope you enjoyed the game.
Hey James, hope you're ready for the game. Root for the East.
James, man, big shout out, man, from us Westbrook. Thank you for your support.
And I know you don't owe me your love, and I know that you don't owe me nothing at all. Ain't no way I'm giving up.
What's going on, James? I appreciate the support.
If you love me, say so.
Season 2 coming back soon, March 2017, and what an episode to get us back up and running. The very lucky winner, James. Lucky to... Anyone would want a weekend away with Mark and Reem, and he got to go and take in the NBA All-Star game as well. Wish list coming back to your Astro Super Sports screen very soon. Right, before we get to a bit of Piegate and a bit of Manchester United's League Cup final, because we've got Gary, and it's his first time back since we introduced Fact or Fiction, this week's Fact or Fiction is on Gary. Please feel free to play along on the home. It's Macca against Stan. five lines. 5 lines about Mr. Gary Stevens. You've got to tell me whether they're fact or fiction. You get the first dibs.
Again.
Stanley.
Again.
Yeah. Would you want to go first?
Yes, please.
Should I toss a coin? I haven't got any coins.
He
to
lost
toss.
the last time.
OK. You go first, Stan. Macca. Gary was released by Norwich City as a youngster. Is that fact or is that fiction?
That's fact.
That's fact. Is it fact or fiction?
Fiction. It was Ipswich Town.
Ipswich Town. You got tricked by the tractor.
Just, I thought it was anybody he played for got rid of him.
So, Macca... That's a bit harsh. Stanley Bernard, here's one for you. Gary has scored a goal in both the... Sorry, I'll rephrase that. Gary has scored in both the FA and UEFA Cup finals. Gary has scored in both an FA Cup and a UEFA Cup final. Fact or fiction?
That's so...
It's a trick question.
Yeah.
Come on, we're only on for an hour,
it's a fiction.
It's fiction.
It's fiction.
It is?
Fact.
It's fact!
Wow.
FA Cup final. What's wrong with you? We got a guest here. Do you mind?
You keep bashing me up.
Listen, have you scored in an FA Cup and a UEFA Cup final?
Absolutely not.
He scored the equaliser. I think you should say it. What am I saying?
So I scored for Brighton against Manchester United.
Make it 2-2, took it to a replay.
In '83, yeah. And then the UEFA Cup final, Spurs against Anderlecht.
Scored in the penalty shootout.
Penalty shootout.
The third penalty in the penalty shootout.
Sorry, mate, I underestimated you.
That's why I said...
It's in 90 minutes.
That's why I said scored, not scored a goal. Fact or fiction number 3, back to you, Macca. Gary, and you might know this because this is your era. Gary is younger than the other Gary Stevens, because you know both Gary Stevens in the 1986 World Cup squad.
I played with both.
I say Gary is younger. Is that fact or fiction?
It's fiction.
It is?
It is?
It is? Did you not know?
Well, I wasn't sure.
It is fiction. You're older than him.
Yes, you
Correct. By 3 days short of a year.
You didn't know. He's older than lots of people.
So now it's 1-0 Macca. You need to get this one, Stan. Fact or fiction number 4. Gary used to coach in Kazakhstan. Gary used to be a coach in Kazakhstan. Is that fact, or is it fiction? Say it properly.
Fact.
Fact. Is it fact or fiction?
Fact.
Fiction.
Fact.
It was
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
See, you got that from me on purpose because you knew I'd have gone the other way. That's why.
I'm going to give you a free go here. You're going to have a free go, Stan. He's going to get a free go to level things up.
Time.
You had the free go.
And you still
Stan,
lost.
I want you to watch this video. Have a look at this video. Watch this video. See that?
Which one's Gary?
Yeah. Now, that is an English tradition called Morris dancing.
Yes.
Stanley Bernard, to level things up, Gary Stevens used to be a Morris dancer. Is it fact or fiction?
Fact.
It's fact.
There used to be a Morris dancer.
But can I just explain it? This was
No,
primary
no,
school.
no,
This was at primary school, and I give my headmaster great credit because all that movement, the balance, the agility at such a young age.
So would you recommend youngsters out there wanting to be professional footballers take up Morris dancing?
Take up Morris dancing if you get the chance. I would have shown you tonight, but I forgot to bring my bells with me.
Okay.
When do you get bullied?
Right, great fun that. It's an honourable draw between Macca and Stan this week. Gary fooling them on lots of those facts or fictions, but we move on to more serious matters. Although I say serious, it was a funny old situation when Arsenal played Sutton away from home in that FA Cup 5th round tie, because the reserve goalkeeper Wayne Shaw, who's a rather rotund chap, shall we say, had attracted lots of media attention going into the game for good reason. And this moment, after all Sutton's substitutes have been used, I may add, as substitute goalkeeper, he poked himself out the dugout and started eating a pie. Now, which would have been considered a bit of innocent fun and something of a romantic notion to the cup if it weren't for the fact that he appeared to have got into bed with some friends who'd had a bet with a bookmaker that laid odds of 8 to 1 that he would eat a pie, be pictured on television eating a pie during the game. So let's not kid ourselves. He clearly did it deliberately. Some of his friends made some money. Some people are saying it's innocent fun. Others, including the FA, have said it's not fun, and he's been forced to resign, Stan. Now, Malaysia itself has been rocked by pretty more serious gambling scandals, it must be said, but do you think it's right that he's resigned and stood down from his post at Sutton?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, it's wrong. By all standards. It's not acceptable. I think what he's done is almost comical at the level. You're playing against Arsenal. Just unacceptable, what he's done.
OK.
It's as simple as that.
You can't laugh it off.
Yeah, you can. It's a disgrace.
Tongue-in-cheek, it's backfired on him, hasn't it? You know, I think that's his pre-match ritual, or during a match, he does that anyway.
Eats a pie during the game?
That's apparently that's what he does
I think that might be some spin that's coming out.
Well, maybe, and you know, the bookies shouldn't be offering that. So eat a pie on a bench.
Yeah.
What are the bookies doing?
I personally think the fault lies with the bookmakers.
Yes.
Why on earth do they put up that type of bet? What's that got to do with a game of football?
It only encourages the guy to get the pie.
Exactly.
But again, the trouble is, where do you draw the line? Because obviously now you can bet on almost anything that happens in the world. You may remember, this was in your era, that there used to be a market on which team would win the first throw-in.
Yes, and there was you win because you win the kick-off, it's easy.
Yeah, so you just kick it out.
Yeah, just kick it out.
And it happened.
Did you ever do that, Macca?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
No, but we joke about it. We joke about it. We joke about it. That happened in the top flight of English football. Matt Letizia did.
Yeah.
And we've also, I mean, going back further in time, and this, by the way, was a scandal that was linked back all the way to Malaysia in the mid-90s, your era again, certainly Macca and Gary. Frank Lampard equalised for West Ham against Crystal Palace. The floodlights went out because there was a rule in the bookmakers there that they pay out on the draw, and that was linked back to Malaysia. It happened again when with an Arsenal. It was finally tumbled during a Charlton versus Liverpool game. So all kinds of gambling scandals have emerged. But going back to Wayne Shaw, you've had Joey Barton under investigation by the FA, Dan Gosling, Cameron Jerome, Andros Townsend. Those players, with the money they're earning, were fined $30,000, $50,000. Andros Townsend had a one-month ban. And they were betting on games not involving their own teams, it must be said, but this guy, earning far less and in a bit more of a jokey manner, has lost his job.
He has, because it's involving his team. It's wrong. It's wrong.
The pie is involving his team.
No, man, look, he could do this.
It's involving himself. It's not involving the team.
But the fact
it's overshadowed Sutton United's glory. That's what it's done.
But is it normal that someone eats a pie?
Well, I just said, I think apparently he does that in the games. Yeah. He's been doing that, and so that's why the bookies have encouraged it. But they're giving odds on it. The bookies shouldn't give odds on it.
If you look at it, they're manipulating, or he was involved in manipulating
the rules,
a betting scheme.
I mean,
right? I think that borders on a criminal offence, in all honesty. So I don't
by
know
the letter of the
how far
law
they
it
can
is.
go.
How can the bookies give odds on the guy,
Well,
the pie on
by
the
the
It's
way,
the same thing with
by
throw-ins,
the way,
isn't it? So
and by
all the
the way-
striker needs to do is what we say,
throw the pie?
kick off, hit the ball, down the corner, first throw-in goes to the opponent, and you put money on it.
What's throw the pie down the line?
No, but
it's nothing to do with the game.
It's wrong.
I mean,
because
the irony to all this, I think, Macca,
it's nothing to do with the game.
Macca, I think you're quite right to point the finger at the bookmaker involved, and there's a reason why we've not mentioned the bookmaker. One, because obviously gambling is illegal in Malaysia, we wouldn't want to promote it. And secondly, it's because bookmakers in these instances have these markets, they expect to lose money on them, and what they do is what they're enjoying now in England, is the publicity.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot buy the publicity they've got off the back of
Macca,
it.
can you ever remember... I can remember before games, when I was playing, some of the players would come in with a sheet and they've had a bet on three or four other games.
Now you can't do that.
No, exactly.
You can't bet on anything.
And it was a talking point before. A couple of the boys were going, well, I've got my 4 teams to win today are A, B, C, and D.
An accumulator. He used to do accumulators.
Exactly.
Why couldn't... Because it was such... Why couldn't he... He knew that. He knew he was getting into hot water.
Yeah.
So why couldn't he say to his brother or uncles or aunties or friends, have a few quid on me getting a pie out and eating it?
By the way,
how come the camera was situated nice and right on his face when he's eating his pie?
By the way, Joey Barton, 1,260 bets on football over a 10-year period. His case is still waiting to be heard by the FA, and they're including games not even in the UK, sort of obscure matches all over the world. Bottom line is it a problem? Are they going to have to get a grip on this, the Football Association? Yep. Don't forget, the Football Association have betting partners. Jurgen Klopp is doing television adverts for a certain bookmaker who, again, we won't name. Is there a problem with betting in football?
There is a problem. They need to be more specific about what can be... they can put money on what kind of stuff.
OK, and to elaborate...
So who's got the problem?
Well, the Football Association needs to speak to the betting companies.
And are you convinced that Malaysian football, very quickly, could do a whole show on this, Malaysian football's now clean of any corruption, or do you think...
Certainly not.
Certainly not. OK, we should do a show on that in the future. Macca, is it a problem they've got to look at?
Yeah, obviously. If it brings the game into disrepute, you have to look at every aspect of football that can make it better.
Zero tolerance for me. No betting
at all
by any player or person involved in the professional game.
On football. They can bet on other things.
Yeah.
On pie eating.
Exactly. That's where the grey area comes in, doesn't it? Right, I'm sure we'll look at that again later on in the season. Now, the first trophy... Don't tell me the Community Shield's a trophy, it isn't. The first trophy of the season, the League Cup final... But you've won the Community Shield, I take it.
Of course, but...
You didn't treat that as a trophy, though, did you?
No.
The League Cup final is the first trophy of the season, make no mistake, and it's live on Astro, but take note of the channel number, guys. It's in channel 814, kick-off, midnight 30. That's late Sunday, early Monday, half-past midnight, Sunday into Monday on channel 814. Manchester United take it on Southampton, but the build-up for the two clubs could not be any different, could it? Southampton have had 15 days of free time to, well, not exactly free time, but time to work on a game plan. And in that space, Manchester United have played 3 times. So does that, Steve McMahon, a man who's played in League Cup finals, give Southampton the upper hand?
No, I'd rather be Manchester United than Southampton.
You've been busy.
Well, me and Gary had this conversation. We've seen Klopp complained and every manager's complained during the festive period about too many games. Where are they all now? Where have they been for the past 10 days? On holiday. In La Manga, Liverpool were in La Manga, so don't let me hear Klopp complaining again. He's in a jolly up in La Manga. Everton have gone to...
New York?
New York, yeah, which is a lovely trip.
Was it New York?
Someone's in Dubai, West Ham are in Dubai for all the trials and tribulations. Yeah. Everybody's flying all over the place.
Yeah.
So don't give me all this nonsense about managers complaining about the backlog. I would rather be in a cup final... playing for Manchester United than having 15 days off and resting.
I think,
simple
but
as
their
that.
opponents, so they've been obviously playing in Europa League games, FA Cup games.
That means they're successful. They're winning games.
So what position would you rather be in?
You put on it the spin you want. So if I'm with Manchester United, I'm saying it's good that we've been consistently playing games, we are match fit, we are ready to go. If you're Southampton, of course, you're saying, well, we've had plenty of time to prepare, we've got loads of energy for it. Personally, I would rather go into a cup final off the back of a series of games.
The point I'm trying to make is Liverpool's bonus for getting knocked out of the FA Cup when there's a free week is going to La Manga, playing golf and relaxing. Sunderland's bonus for being bottom of the table is going to New York.
And by the way,
first class, by the way.
And not only that,
New York.
in the week that some of the
bonus.
club staff have been told they're going to be made redundant.
That's their bonus, going to New York. Give me a break.
You've got it in for Sunderland. You think they're
I've got it in for teams who complain about the...
Sorry, just talking about United.
holiday. Let's take it back. My fault.
United. Simple as that. You'd rather be Manchester United, the form they're in,
yes, but
walking into the cup finals. As simple as that. Hands down.
The flip side of this is, and Navan sent us a tweet that says, will they not be affected by the injuries to Michael Carrick and Mkhitaryan? Because, of course, both those players injured in St Etienne on Thursday night. And Southampton, unless they pick up an injury in training, have got a clean bit of health. United have got players that are... I mean, Ibrahimovic has played more games than any other outfield player in the entire Premier League.
There's two things going for them. Firstly, momentum. Momentum brings players who are confident. So you're talking about a change. Yes, both for me, especially Mkhitaryan. Big miss. Player on form, scores goals. So you're going to put in, Mata might come in, Rashford will still play. And Pogba will probably play just behind him. That's not a bad line.
What's it going to take for Rooney to get a game?
He's not going to get the start.
Well, he needs to be fit to start with.
I mean, when we're looking at this game, though, Southampton's path to this final has been impressive. They've beaten all Premier League opposition, Palace, Sunderland, Arsenal and Liverpool, and they have not conceded in 450 minutes of football in the Football League Cup this season, and that includes visits to Liverpool and Arsenal. So Southampton have shown arguably their best form in this competition.
Fair play to them, man. And there's only 4 trophies you can win, and certainly Southampton, there's 3, because they're not in Champions League or European football, so there's only 3. They're in the final of one of them. So fair play to them. You know, and the other clubs should take a leaf out of the book and go for it.
Again, I don't know, you know, when you say about Southampton and playing all those Premier League sides, what the sides were that they had to face, if you take
yes, that's a very good point.
Were they full strength sides?
And to be fair, Manchester United themselves, after playing Northampton, they've beaten City, West Ham, and Hull, so they've played 3 of the 4 Premier League opponents.
Liverpool put a real good side out against Southampton. Southampton played well against Liverpool over 2 legs.
Deserved to go through. And obviously, the other thing that Southampton didn't have at the start of this campaign, which they do now, is this big signing, Gabbiadini, the lad they've got in as well. So they've got some strike power as well. A bit of trivia for you. I'm not sure you know this one, Stan, but I couldn't blame you for it. But I'm sure Gary and Macca might.
Fact or fiction?
Not a fact or fiction. 1976, last time they played each other in a cup final, FA Cup final, it was United against Southampton, who were then in the 2nd division. Southampton won. Do you know who got the winner?
Yeah.
Go on.
Do you know?
I'm
going to go Bobby Stokes.
It was Bobby Stokes, 83rd minute. So you can say you knew it now, anyway.
No, it was an educated guess.
But
I would have said Bobby Stokes, because he's a hero, isn't he?
And Bobby's no longer alive. He passed away when he was about 44. He had quite a sad life after his football career.
50 years old?
50, 41, but I'm an anorak. I'm sad. I've got no life. Football is my life, unfortunately. Sad to say. Right, round the table, do Southampton... I'm going to ask you for your correct score prediction in a minute, but firstly, back to the original question. Does Southampton being fresh have the edge here?
Not at all.
No?
Absolutely.
No edge whatsoever.
So, on a line through that, I would imagine that we're going to get a clean sweep of United winning predictions. Stanley Bernard, this is the celebrity prediction game this weekend, the League Cup final. What's your pick?
Manchester United 2, Southampton 1.
2-1 to United. Steve McMahon, top of the shop.
2-0.
2-0 to Steve McMahon, who's now only 5 points in front of Adam Carruthers, who's gone also 2-0. So he's got... Oh, that's interesting on the tactics. Whatever happens this week, you're still going to be 5 points clear.
And I'm not on the board, because I never entered the competition, but I'm going Man United 2-0.
And I'm going just to...
You're still ahead of Stanley, by the way. You're on the board.
Just to give Manchester United a bit more misery, I'm going to give them extra time to play. 2 each I'm going for after 90 minutes. And on the subject of Manchester United having a lot on their plate, we have in the last hour had the Europa League draw as well. And it was a draw, just the draw that Mourinho didn't want. Because at the draw earlier this evening, Manchester United were paired up with Rostov, which means a trip to the Eastern Bloc for them, Russia, Rostov, aren't they? And that means the away leg being first, as it stands, United play Chelsea in the FA Cup, which has been scheduled for a Monday night, and then they have to go to Russia to play on the Thursday. The fixtures keep coming thick and fast for United. But credit to Mourinho, wherever he's gone, whether it's Real Madrid, whether it's Inter Milan, whether it's Chelsea, he never plays weakened teams. I mean, remember what City did at Chelsea in the FA Cup last season?
Yeah, well, the second leg, St Etienne, was played on Tuesday night, when it should have been Thursday.
Played Wednesday.
Well, it should have been Thursday.
Yeah, so they won't play on Wednesday night this time. They'll try and get it played on a Friday, probably.
Well, you win some, you lose some. Yeah. That's the way it is, yeah.
And the other thing, conquerors of Tottenham, Ghent, Tottenham really blew it big time
the Ghent derby.
versus Genk.
Ghent versus Genk. And that's being played presumably in Belgium.
It's the Ghent derby.
It's the Ghent derby. Right, when we come back, there's plenty more to come, including a bit of quickfire, and it's been a busy old period, including the first sacking of the season that wasn't Ashley Westwood, and more on Ashley Westwood to come on the show. Stanley Bernard's going to wrap up the MSL in 60 seconds. That's next. Stay with us on your Wonder Football Countdown. We're live at 9 on 816 and 834 every Friday, and from now to the end of the season, we're live on YouTube as well. Spread the word, people. See you in a couple of minutes.
The NBA on Astro Supersport 4 and HD.
Willian. Pedro! The referee, Marchese.
Oh! Nice pass to Liso. The shot!
Decides to take the free kick up and over!
We played in, it's at the feet of Zaza, tracing it on the turn, it's a wonderful goal from Simone Zaza.
By the way, I must ask, do we get the Asian Champions League goals on top 30? Anyone tell me? Do we have the Asian goals? We don't. We should. Did you see the Hulk goal?
Yeah.
Hulk's goal for Shanghai SIPG.
Incredible.
You seen it?
Showing it.
Incredible.
It was. That's what I said in commentary, by the way. We great minds think about it. It was an incredible goal. You didn't see it, but it should be in there.
I've seen it.
He just
Stanley showed me before.
You've seen it? Oh, you've seen it? Yeah. OK, you're not teasing me. Great stuff. Top 30 coming away Wednesdays at 9. You see the best goals from all the great football you can enjoy live on your Astro Supersport. That is well worth a watch. Right, Stanley, are you standing by? It's been a busy old week in the Malaysian Super League. Penang smashed at Pahang, and we've had the first managerial casualty. You've got 60 seconds to tell the world what's happening in the Malaysian Super League, and your time starts now.
Well, firstly, I'm bewildered with the decision. He's 82-year-old, if you all been hearing the news. Karl-Heinz Weghorst.
82?
82 years old. If you go back to the movie... Yeah, he was in charge of Perak last season. He got them out of that rut, got them to safety. They're in the Super League again this season. He's 82 years old. He's the same guy. Both of you watched the movie, Ola Bola?
Yeah, I've seen Ola Bola.
Harry Mountain?
Yeah.
He's actually the real Harry Mountain. Karl-Heinz Weghorst. So 1980, he was the head coach of Malaysia, who took them to the Olympics. Of course, they boycotted the Olympics then and they didn't play in the Olympics. So it's almost bewildered because he's 82-year-old. He shouldn't be in charge. You should have told him at the early season.
But they beat JDT and they sacked him.
And they sacked him after they beat JDT. JDT, Johor Takzim, was unbeaten last season in the league. And they've lost the first time after that long run because Karl-Heinz Weghorst was the manager and he got sacked the day after.
Why did they sack him?
Very quickly.
Because it is
so old.
A people managing without the knowledge of football. It's as simple.
But hold on, going on, let's go to JDT now, though, very quickly, because JDT are only 9th, just one win all season so far. Is there a crisis in Johor?
Firstly, I think you're looking at Johor, and there's a lot of transition that has happened.
Okay.
I just think the fact that Mario Gomez has gone just 3 days before the kickoff, a new manager in charge, a lot of players have gone. You look at that bench; it's not as strong as last time, and the foreigners as well. The changes in foreigners.
Ashley Westwood, what's happening with him?
He's been given a task.
Struggling.
He's been given a task. He needs to qualify for the Malaysia Cup. He'll be in charge until the end of the season, in the league. But he needs to qualify. Because the format is half the season, and then they evaluate which is the teams that go to the Malaysia Cup.
And by the way, they're at Kedah this Saturday, so we're a friend of Penang, and Ashley Westwood's here. Good luck to Penang. Mountain to climb, you'd have thought, at Kedah on Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's tough.
And the week after that, they play PKNS. And if you're a fan of Penang, fan of Malaysian football, this will interest you because live on the show, joining us round the round table next Friday night at 9 is none other than the Penang Bosch Ashley Westwood, who's under a bit of pressure, so it's good of him to come on. So we're looking forward to welcoming Ashley to the studio live at 9 next Friday on 816 and 834. Right, bit of quick fire now. 60 seconds on the clock again. We didn't help you by talking there, Stan. We'll work on your 60-second wrap of Malaysian Super League, but we have only got 60 seconds for this. This is quick fire. Stanley Bernard, time starts now. Should Joe Barton be ashamed of the incident with Matt Reid in the FA Cup?
Absolutely.
Yes, Macca?
I haven't seen it, so seriously, I can't comment.
Totally ashamed. Embarrassing.
Question 2, and this comes on to a tweet we've had from Naveen as well. Can Rooney be a success in China?
Yes.
Yes?
Anywhere he goes, to be honest.
No.
No, I'm with
absolutely, 100% no.
Yeah.
Financially, yes.
Not convinced as a player. Your player of the week in Champions League football, Asian Champions League for you, Stan, is?
Liao Li Shang, plays for Guangzhou Evergrande.
Okay.
One of the star players there. He was outstanding.
Falcao.
Falcao.
Yeah. I think I'll go for Aguero back in the Man City side.
Aguero. I'm going to go for Nzonzi in the European Champions League and Yan Yungling, the Shanghai SIPG goalkeeper. He was sensational for them in their win against Seoul. Should the EPL be worried about ref transfers? Clattenburg going to Saudi Arabia?
No.
No?
No, not at all.
Really?
Yeah, I think they should. We need the best referee, or the English Premier League needs the best referees.
So. And name a team that will win away this weekend in the Premier League.
I'm going for... Who's Everton playing?
Everton?
Everton
are at home.
Sunderland.
Yeah, against
Sunderland away.
Against Sunderland.
Yeah.
Sunderland. You've gone Sunderland at Everton.
Sunderland.
You've wasted the last 10 seconds there. Go on very quickly. Your team will win away.
Stoke.
Stoke, they are away
Tottenham.
at Spurs.
Yeah.
Oh, you aren't like that, Gary. Who are you going for?
In which case, if Macca's having a go at my old side, I'm going to go for Liverpool to lose at Leicester.
Yeah, good one. Good shot.
But no, they're the away. They're playing away.
Who?
That's your shock shop. Team that wins away this weekend in the Premier League.
Oh, well, let me throw in another one.
Go on.
There'll be an away win at Wembley.
Well, that's what you've done there. Very cute, very cute. And going back to that Rooney question, because Navan has tweeted in, should Rooney have gone to China now?
No, he shouldn't go at all.
Shouldn't go? What should he do then?
Well, he should try and see his time out there.
He's contracted to Manchester United, and I think he should still be striving to be part of that club.
He's got 50 million, and why he's not? He'd be a fish up a tree if he went to China.
A fish up a tree.
A fish up a tree. What does that mean?
But his agent was apparently there, and the money. I mean,
his agent was on holiday. Paul Strifford.
Yeah, it was on holiday, mate.
Yeah.
OK, shock shot. What's your shock, Stan?
Chelsea to drop points at home.
Chelsea to drop points at home to Swansea. That's the prime time game, 816 and 834. I'm assuming you guys are both on duty for that?
Yeah, we are.
I believe so.
What's your shock shot, Macca?
Well, I'm going Stoke. With the away win, I'm going Stoke to beat Tottenham just to rub it in a little bit more.
I can now bring mine.
He can now bring his trump card.
Leicester to beat Liverpool, yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier. How long will it be before we hear the Ranieri chants, by the way? At the King Power on Monday night.
This week.
Yeah, you'll hear it all over the place because they love him to death. But if you'd have woke up, let me quickly, if you'd have woke up and seen that Wenger would have been sacked, would have been shocked.
That wouldn't have been a shock.
No, it would have been saying, he deserved to.
By the way, what does it say about Wenger's judgment that he tried to sign Jamie Vardy?
Did he?
But anyway,
Did he really?
My shock shot, by the way, very quickly, not that anyone cares what I think, is Bournemouth to win away at West Brom. Bournemouth haven't got a win in 6. They need something, and I think the Baggies could give it to them. Right, this is what's coming. By the way, no games this weekend. Apologies if you're a City or an Arsenal fan. They've got the weekend off because of the League Cup final. So what you have is 8 Premier League games and that League Cup final. Chelsea against Swansea. 10:30 the pre-show starts with Macca and Gary, with Roshan and Adam doing the hosting. 816 and 834. Chelsea won 11 straight at home in the league. Hull against Burnley, 11 p.m. 810 831. Burnley only scored 5 away goals all season. That's lowest across all the 5 divisions in England. Everton and Sunderland, 11 p.m. 811 and 833. Everton have won the last 3 at home by 3 goals or more. Palace against Borough, 11 p.m. Astro on the go. West Brom Bournemouth, 11 p.m. Astro on the go. The game that takes you from Saturday into Sunday is Watford against the Hammers. That's 1 a.m. on 816 and 834. West Ham have lost just 1 of the last 5. They finally found some form. Spurs and Stoke is your prime time offering on Sunday. The pre-show starts at 9 p.m. on 816 and 834. Spurs taken 32 of a possible 36 points at home. That's an astonishing record. And then what probably wasn't going to be the game that everyone had their eye on at the start of the week now is going to be a not-miss clash. We always ask, if we don't, who's going to stay up till 4 in the morning to watch the game on Tuesday? I think we all will be. Leicester against Liverpool, 810 831. It is the first post Ranieri game. I'm staying up. Don't laugh. I'll be staying up. I'll be staying up. Quick prediction for that one. Quick prediction, Leicester-Liverpool.
Leicester to lose.
Leicester to lose?
Yeah, Leicester to lose.
I've already said Leicester to win, that's the shock.
OK, mate. I was just checking, just testing you.
Got it right there, Tom.
Enjoy your footballing weekend, live on Astro Supersport, 8 Premier League games and the League Cup final, and we'll be back with Ashley Westwood, the Penang boss, in the studio, live at 9 on 816 and 834, and on YouTube next Friday night. Have a great weekend, Malaysia, and keep it tuned to Astro Supersport.
This programme is brought to you by Wonder Coffee. Tastes like just brewed.
Rio, Brazil will be the ATP World Tour's next stop.
That's quality play. Excellent play. Couldn't have placed it any more perfectly.
Rising stars take on seasoned veterans in South America's biggest tournament.
Marvellous shots, brilliant finish. Oh, scorcher. A glorious moment for the new Rio Open champion.
ATP 500 Rio Open on Astro Supersport 3 and HD.
One racks goes down, arrow flies, Lou jumps in.
Star Series Season 3, Delta 2, live on EGG.
Apple hope of getting into the final 16 of this.